Hey guys, happy new year to everyone. I didn't have the chance, to wish you properly happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all of that because, I was sick pretty much, a chunk of the holiday season. And, that's one of the main reasons why I was offline for quite a while. I had something which was, like COVID, but wasn't quite COVID. It was kind of weird, but everybody was kind of sick, when it comes to the winter and the winter storm we had. Even here in Texas, we've been affected a little bit. So I'm back now, and I really wish us, a very prosperous 2023 year. I also wish us, prosperity in all of the investments we make, but I also wish us, all of us, specifically to be smarter in the way we manage our money and our investments. All right. Now, that being said, all right, I want to cover in this video two main things why we need to be careful in prepping for the imminent short squeeze. I believe, could potentially come our way. And by our way, I mean people holding AMC stock and maybe some of the other meme stocks. All right. Because we do have some recent development that have been happening in the memosphere. And I think, this can act as a potential catalyst. But there is a catch somewhere. And that's also the second part I want to cover. All right. So as you saw today and some of the other days, Bed Bath and Beyond is in the midst of a massive short squeeze as bearish traders are playing game of chicken with a potential bankruptcy. As a matter of fact, if you look at Bed Bath and Beyond stock price, I mean, it's been quadrupling for the last couple of days. Yes, you heard that right. Quadrupling, 4x, that's 400%. Today only, the stock jumped and gained 50%. All right. If you look at the last 5 days, it is up 261%. That's a lot in just a short amount of time for a company that is supposedly, a couple of days ago or last week just announced that, hey, we are not so sure if we're going to make it in the very short term. And that's when everything fueled, a massive short selling. If you look at the last month, you can see a slight decline from the $3 to, this one, the lowest of the 127 cents. And then from this point forward, boom, it jumped all the way passing $5 in just a matter of, 7 days or something. Now, what is behind this whole thing? Well, I think it's maybe two things. Two main things that I think we need to talk about. First, this is fueled by, in one hand, short sellers covering. All right. In one hand, short sellers covering, but also in the other hand, it's fueled by shorts being squeezed because people are buying based on these shorts covering as well. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. And S3 made a very, very interesting comment saying that if the bankruptcy becomes more of a certainty, then, the stock can go to zero, which will fuel a more short selling side of things. And that's why, some of them are still kind of hanging to their positions. But if the retailers, if people who are buying now in the expectation of another short squeeze, which I believe is already on the way, then and continue to hold on their own position, then we can see in the very short term, this fuel another short squeeze fire, sending the stock to a price soaring. If the stock continues to rally, we could see more near-term short sellers exit their positions and begin to pocket, make some gains, secure some gains, secure the bags, as we say, in the profits that they earn in 2022. So that's one side, all right? In the other side, you also have, something that's really quite interesting, and this is where I'm going to pause for a second before jumping to the second item. If we pause for a second, does it make sense to you that a company who is supposed to go bankrupt have its stock price gaining 300% or even more in just a matter of 5 days? How so? For a company that's supposed to go to zero, all right? Now, this is what we call the short covering, because, and that's why I think it's very interesting for people holding AMC stock or still holding AMC stock or still kind of waiting, to either go flat or, make some money and maybe get the chance to finally get out of this thing. Why? Because short sellers, whenever they start shorting, the goal is to cover the position. And that's what's something that's happening when they're also taking profits, and when they are done with this with the short trade and they are exiting the position. Because when you borrow when you borrow shares to short, at some point you have to return them, and that's when the process of covering happens. Now with Bed Bath & Beyond, I believe right now we're experiencing not only these shorts actually covering, but also we have a massive short squeeze also happening, because retailers, redditors, or other people seeing this kind of a deja vu movie happening again knows that, hey, this might be a repeat of what we saw a couple of years ago, so let me buy a little bit. And that's kind of creating this vicious circle. All right, now something really important also to mention is that the same short sellers who are in Bed Bath & Beyond usually are also in all of the meme stocks, based on the fact that they are categorized as memes. And that's why if we go back to the AMC stock share price, we can see that there is kind of this tendency when one of the meme companies are being beaten down, the others are also following in tandem. So look, in the last 5 days, AMC has gained what? 26%. All right. Now it's back above $5. Same thing for Ape. Ape, it's also back above maybe $1.5 and everything. But the goal here, or the thing here, is when you look at the CPI data and the comments of the Fed, a lot of people in the market were shorting, the market as a whole. And when that happens, the more vulnerable stock prices or companies, or those companies that are highly volatile, AMC stock, Bed Bath & Beyond, especially with this news of bankruptcy, happening and getting into the mix. Now that we have the CPI falling into expectations, if it continues to do so, the stat is by August, inflation will be to 3% or even down to 3%. So the bottom line is, lots of people were betting on things to get worse in terms of recession, and were kind of fearing the Fed to create this recession by continuing to increase interest rates in order to bring the economy down to its knees in order to fight inflation. But if we continue to have inflation winding down on its own, then maybe the Fed wouldn't have to be as aggressive as they need to be, because despite what they're saying, they don't even know what they're going to do in the next month, nearly in the next 6 months, because they are also data driven, the data coming from the CPI. Just to say that lots of people were betting on everything to go worse in 2023, but now we are getting somehow better news, and it's also kind of fueling people who were shorting the market to start to get a little bit doubtful into that strategy, and now are starting to either cover or reduce those short positions. And that's why I think it makes sense to expect in the short term another short squeeze coming in the meme stock sphere, including AMC stock, for example. Now, this is not a guarantee. Otherwise, we'll all be billionaires. But I think if you couple these two items, then yeah, there is a huge possibility. Of course, we'll have to wait and see. But I think the caveat here I was mentioning at the beginning of the video is, when it happens, if we have, another news or another, markets, trending with maybe new monthly highs or new quarterly highs, then people are going to start taking profits again, and then we'll see maybe things going back into the the downtrend. And that's why I think if you want to make sure you are securing some gains, or maybe if you end up being flat with your position, and if it makes sense to you not to take more risk, all right, then maybe it will make sense for you to kind of do what you think is best for you. But the bottom line here is, as with Bed Bath & Beyond, as shorts are covering, as long as AMC shorts have not covered, I think it is still worthwhile expecting a squeeze to happen, like we're seeing here in Bed Bath and Beyond. But it's going to be short and really quick when that happens. That's why we need to be careful. That's the message I have for you today, guys. I'll see you in the next one.